Hassan and the Magical Paper, Journey to a World Without Plants. Abdul Salim. On a sunny afternoon, Hassan sat at his desk, surrounded by his favorite comic books. While searching for a clean sheet of paper to draw a superhero, he found a thick, textured page tucked between two books. It wasn't white like the others. It was a pale, earthy brown. In the center, the word plants was written in glowing, emerald green letters that seemed to pulse like a tiny heart. Hassan wondered aloud, what would the world even be like if we didn't have plants? The moment the question left his lips, the green light flared, filling the room with the scent of fresh rain and cut grass. The walls of his bedroom began to shimmer and fade. Hassan felt a gentle tug at his stomach, and suddenly, he was no longer sitting in his chair. He was tumbling through a tunnel of swirling emerald light, rushing toward a destination he couldn't see. He gripped the magical paper tightly as the wind whistled past his ears. When the light finally faded, Hassan landed softly on a hard, flat surface. He looked around and gasped. Gone were the blue skies and green trees of his home. Instead, he stood on a vast, rocky plain under a hazy, yellow sun. Everything was a dull, depressing shade of gray. There was no grass, no flowers, and no bushes. The ground was covered in a thick layer of fine, gray dust that puffed up around his shoes with every step. As Hassan tried to take a deep breath, he realized the air felt heavy and thin. It was hard to pull into his lungs. Suddenly, a man appeared from behind a large, jagged rock. He was wearing a bulky jumpsuit and a heavy glass mask connected to a tank on his back. The man raised a hand in a friendly wave, though his movements seemed slow and tired. He walked toward Hassan, his boots crunching loudly on the dry ground. The man, whose name was Zaki, reached into a bag and pulled out a spare mask. He helped Hassan fit it over his head. Immediately, a rush of cool, clean air filled Hassan's lungs, making him feel much better. "Thank you," Hassan muffled through the glass. Zaki nodded sadly. "The air here is difficult," Zaki explained. "Without plants to breathe out oxygen, we have to make our own in giant machines. It is very hard work." Zaki led Hassan to a small research station. He knelt down and scooped up a handful of the gray soil, letting it sift through his gloved fingers. "I am a scientist," Zaki said. "I study the earth, but there is no life left in it. Plants went extinct many years ago because people forgot to care for them. Now the soil is just dead dust. Without roots to hold it together, the land is just sliding away." Hassan felt a grumble in his stomach. "Is there anything to eat?" he asked. Zaki took him to a nearby metal counter where a machine dispensed small, gray cubes. Hassan took a bite of one, but it tasted like chalk and chemicals. "There is no fruit, no vegetables, and no bread," Zaki said. "We make this artificial food in labs. It keeps us alive, but it has no flavor. We haven't tasted a sweet strawberry or a crunchy apple in a long time." Hassan looked around the horizon, hoping to see a bird or a dog. "Where are the animals?" he asked. Zaki sighed heavily. "The animals disappeared shortly after the plants," he explained. "The cows had no grass, the birds had no seeds, and the bees had no flowers. When the plants died, the animals had nothing to eat, and they couldn't survive. It is a very quiet world now." Hassan felt a pang of sadness for the missing songs of the birds. Suddenly, the sky turned a dark, angry orange. A low roar began to echo across the plains. "Quickly," Zaki shouted, grabbing Hassan's arm. "A dust storm is coming." Without trees to act as windbreaks, the wind whipped across the flat land with terrifying speed. Huge clouds of choking gray dust rose up, blotting out the sun. Hassan and Zaki ran toward a heavy metal door set into the side of a hill, the wind pushing against their backs. They made it inside just as the storm slammed into the door. Once they were safe, Zaki led Hassan through a long tunnel to a massive glass structure called the Oxygen Dome. It was the most important building in the city. Inside, huge fans whirred, and pipes hissed as they processed the air. "This is where we pay to get the oxygen we need to live," Zaki said. "It is very expensive because it is so rare." In the very center of the dome, there was a small, high-security room. Zaki showed Hassan a row of glass boxes kept under bright purple lights. Inside each box was a single, tiny green sprout, no bigger than Hassan's thumb. "These are the last seedlings," Zaki whispered. "We try to grow them, but they are very weak. Without the natural sun and the right soil, they struggle to survive. We guard them like they are made of gold." Near the exit of the dome, Hassan saw a little girl sitting on the floor. Her name was Noor. She was holding a piece of gray chalk and was drawing busily on a large, cold metal wall. Hassan walked over to see what she was making. He was surprised to see she was drawing a giant, leafy tree with round fruits hanging from the branches. It looked just like the trees in Hassan's own backyard. Noor looked up at Hassan with big, curious eyes. "I've never seen a real one," she said softly, pointing to her drawing. "My grandmother tells me stories about trees. She says they used to give us cool shade when it was hot and sweet fruits that made your tongue happy. I dream about what it would be like to sit under one and listen to the leaves rustle in the breeze. Do you think they were real?" Hassan felt the magical paper in his pocket begin to vibrate. A warm, green glow started to seep through his clothes. He knew it was time to leave. He looked at Noor and then at Zaki. "They are real," Hassan promised. "And they are the most beautiful things in the world." As the green light enveloped him, the gray world of dust and masks began to dissolve, replaced by the familiar sense of his home. Hassan blinked and found himself back in his bedroom. He looked out the window and saw the big oak tree in his yard, its leaves dancing in the wind. He felt a wave of deep gratitude for the green world around him. "I promise to protect you," Hassan whispered. He decided that tomorrow, he would ask his teacher to help him plant a new tree at school and start a garden to keep the earth healthy and strong.